When several circuits break at the same time, we have an energy crisis.
It was announced today that gasless Sundays will go into effect as of next month.
Natural gas getting short, everything's getting short.
One thing is certain, and that is the price of gasoline is definitely going to go up.
We're in an era of limits, that the future is by no means certain, and it's only through the collective will and common purpose that this country will maintain its position in the world.
What we need is a commitment of a policy that moves us toward energy independence.
The Energy Commission has good relations with Governor Brown, but sometimes has conflicts with other regulatory agencies.
It all depends how many new buildings are built in California in the next 15 years. The new standards could save energy amounting to 22 million barrels of oil.
The 1973 energy crisis brought energy policy into the public spotlight. In the early 70s, California's energy mix was a mixed bag, about 1% nuclear, 8% large hydro, 9% coal, 30% natural gas, and 60% petroleum. These resources supplied the state's total demand for electricity. In 1974, with a stressed energy industry, rising demand for electricity, and heightened awareness of environmental issues, the California Energy Commission was born. The state legislature created the commission to lead the state toward a more sustainable, reliable, and cleaner energy future. The founding legislation, known as the Warren-Alquist Act, transformed energy policy in California and eventually across the United States and the world. The job of electricity demand forecasting was transferred from utilities to the new state agency with an eye toward a different future, led by appointees of the newly elected Governor Jerry Brown. The Warren-Alquist Act empowered the Energy Commission with bold mandates to pioneer energy efficiency standards, expand alternative and renewable power supplies, integrate planning into siting functions, and launch an ambitious research and development program. The Energy Commission gained international attention in its inaugural year by adopting the world's first energy efficiency standards for appliances. By 1978, the Commission adopted the first mandatory energy efficiency codes for buildings, partly because of research by Berkeley lab physicist and future Energy Commissioner Art Rosenfeld. Former State Assemblyman Charles Embrecht led the Commission through most of the 1980s and on through the mid-1990s as the longest-serving chair. The Embrecht era saw progress toward a cleaner and less wasteful energy future. Utilities deployed solar, wind, and other renewables, which became a greater share of their power base. Population boomed by 25%, while energy demand dropped by more than 5%. The CEC broke new ground and published the first assessment of the potential impacts of climate change of California in 1989.
For a state that had a 25% population increase in just 10 years between 1980 and 1990, we would have had to build power plants from one end of California to the other to meet that kind of growth generated simply by population. But by contrast, we were able to develop a consensus that indeed energy efficiency was the least expensive and, I might add, the most environmentally benign option available to the people of California.
The 1990s brought major challenges to California's vision for a more sustainable and cleaner energy future. In 1996, Assembly Bill 1890 restructured the state's electricity market to open doors to competition and lower consumers' electricity rates. 6 years later, the market reforms promised failed. The competition never materialized. Instead, the restructuring led to an energy crisis.
With out-of-state power imports down from yesterday, ISO engineers had little choice but to order the blackouts continue today.
Traders manipulated the market, wholesale power prices surged, California experienced rolling blackouts, and utilities were pushed to the brink of bankruptcy. With the state's flawed restructuring experience, the Energy Commission started ramping up, returning to analysis through the newly mandated Integrated Energy Policy Report. California's energy agencies jumped into action, investing nearly $1 billion in new efficiency programs that save more than 6,000 megawatts, and by streamlining permitting procedures that added online 9,500 megawatts, to date, still the largest expansion in California history. At the same time, California's energy future turned brighter. The turn of the century marked the beginning of a series of landmark actions to combat the new energy challenge: climate change and upward trajectory that continues to this day. The Commission led the development of the nation's first renewables portfolio standard, the first of many national trend-setting measures to come. With immediate success, subsequent amendments had ensured a steady rise in the percentage of renewables powering the state's electricity. The legislature accelerated the renewables market with the passage of Senate Bill 1, the Million Solar Roofs Initiative, giving home and business owners rebates for installing solar energy systems. In 2001, California took action on environmental justice. New laws directed the Commission and other state agencies to create policies that support tribal nations and other communities historically left behind, launching a new era of public engagement and focus on people most impacted by pollution. Today, 4.5 decades since the Energy Commission was created, one thing hasn't changed: the dedication to achieving ambitious energy goals. Today, California has exceeded its 2020 goals of cutting greenhouse gas emissions to 1990 levels and having 1/3 of its electricity generated from renewable sources. Thanks to the forward-thinking energy policies of the 70s, the average Californian uses the same amount of electricity they did 40 years ago. Today, none of the state's electricity comes from petroleum, and coal-fired generation has nearly disappeared. Nearly 2/3 of California's electricity comes from carbon-free sources. Renewables are now mainstream. This success shows what's possible as the state works to achieve 100% clean electricity and carbon neutrality by mid-century. The Energy Commission is well poised to help the state meet these milestones. And the future of California clean energy looks brighter than ever, illuminated by the more than 700 dedicated staff that energize the Energy Commission.